Yeah, their trials are happening this week.
Yeah, maybe.
So the UK High Court and many legal experts have all agreed that proscribing Palestine Action as a terror organization to support our allies, no matter what.
Pushing back.
In the view, is
First step away because we're not loving. What's happening with security? I think doing more damage than
We do.
What does it say?
You trust. It's about David Lammy. David Lammy's trying to remove juries for 50% of all jury trials.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just going to.
But I was there alongside the Leicester Six, who were in another court further down, and other people. The whole of the Westminster Magistrates Court has been taken. We want all of the extremist labels removed, and we want the right people to be put in the job. To Israel, to support genocide, to support the murderous settlers, and we want them exposed because they're a charity in this country. Your tax pounds are paying for that genocide when that money is added as a, what do they call it, gift aid. And worst of all, in some ways, in my mind, the president of the JNF, of the Jewish National Fund, is also the advisor on global affairs to Nigel Farage and the Fascist Reform Party. You see the connection. He makes the connection directly. They're all fascists.
Yeah!
And he's a councillor in Abbey Road Ward in Westminster, and we want to get him unelected in this council election. He recently went from fascist light in the Tories to fascist heavy in Reform, and we want to kick him out. And so we'll be leafleting and going around the council estates on Wednesday at 6 p.m. If you have time, come and join us. St. John's.
Thank you so much, Sam. So, in the past 9 months, Defend Our Juries has taken on one of the biggest civil disobedience campaigns in living memory. This campaign utilised civil disobedience as a tactic. So, your right to oppose an unjust law. We defied an unjust law, namely the proscription of Palestine Action, with the simple act of holding up signs. What Palestine Action used as their method was direct action. Direct action is not opposing the law or asking permission of the state. It is going directly to the source. And to talk about the principles of direct action, I've got Saeed up next.
Here we are again. I feel like I'm in a time warp. I feel like I'm in a time loop. Don't get me wrong, I love seeing all your beautiful faces again and again over the weeks. But I do dream of a time when we don't need to mobilize every week just to defend the most basic principles of democracy in this country. It was just over 2 months ago that we stood outside this building and declared for the first time victory against the banning of Palestine Action. But it seems this government has a huge appetite to lose and lose and lose again when it comes to Palestine. It seems there's no end to how much this government loves the humiliation in public of losing, from the Filter 24 to this judicial review. But whatever happens in that building over the next 2 days, the truth is that we've already won. We've already won because this government fears the strength and resilience of the movement that you've built to oppose genocide and to support the liberation of the Palestinian people. We've already won because we're no longer afraid of the state. The only weapon they have against this movement is our fear. And fear can be a powerful weapon, but it's nothing compared to the fury and the hope and the love that fills the hearts of everyone here and fills the hearts of everyone who's built the Direct Action Network in this country. The fury of people in this country watching a genocide committed by your state, committed in your name, committed with your money, and then being lied to your faces about it every day. The hope of being involved in a liberation movement and finding your small role in defending the Palestinian people. The hope for liberation in our lifetime. And the love that all of us feel for the Palestinian people that is greater than the fear this government can try and instill in our hearts. And we've already won because there is an unstoppable movement of direct action in this country now. The government thought they had one headache on their hands, and it was called Palestine Action. Now they have 100 headaches, each with a different name and a different leader and a different network. 100 thorns pricking their fingers when they try desperately to crush this movement. I've never seen a more perfect illustration of the phrase, "They tried to bury us, they didn't know we were seeds." We've already won because no matter what happens here, the movement for the liberation of Palestine in this country and the dedication of people in this country to dismantling the architecture of apartheid and genocide cannot be stopped and will not be stopped. I'm going to leave you with a short passage from Ahmad Zeben. He is the representative of Palestinian prisoners who have been recently released. And what he says, and what that movement of Palestinian prisoners has said for over 3 years, is that when they called out to you to defend the Palestinian people, and specifically called out to you to break the supply chain of Israeli weapons from this shore to the genocidal regime, you answered that call. And the Palestinian people recognize that. Ahmad Zeben says this: in a time when the genocide against our people in Gaza is met with silence, for now the echo of your uprising has reached us. Know, O revolutionaries of the world, that you are not alone in this ordeal. Every Palestinian on the face of the earth raises their hat to you, proud that their back is supported by the wall of your steadfastness and revolutionary spirit. And I respond to Ahmad by saying, that the Palestinian people are not alone, because we will never abandon them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saeed. Just to get a little mood lift, can I get a free, free? Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Thank you. Next up, we're going to hear some poems written by Zoe Rogers, who's currently on trial, one of the Filton 24. The trial is currently ongoing at Woolwich Crown Court, and there is an insane level of silencing happening in that courtroom. So we're going to hear two of Zoe's poems, ones that she's written in prison, read by Moshi, who has taken action with Defend Our Juries several times. Moshi, a trans Jew activist. Thank you.
Thanks so much everyone for being here, everyone who worked to put this on. My name is Moisha, and I'm a proud anti-Zionist Jew. And I'm very proud to be here today with all of these other anti-Zionist Jews as well. I really appreciate the work you do. Like all of you, I'm here today gathering outside the royal courts of injustice because our government has chosen to protect the Israeli people, the Israeli military, over its own citizens. They have chosen unequivocally to protect a genocidal colonial project rather than protect its own democracy. They've decided to protect property and not people. In doing this, it's implicated us all by sending our tax money to slaughter civilians, children, journalists, doctors and aid workers, by harboring war criminals under our noses. The state has shown that international law is simply no longer on the agenda. By mass prosecuting peaceful protesters, by wrongfully imprisoning those like Zoe Rogers, who are willing to put their bodies on the wheels to stop the machine. By targeting sign holders just last week outside of Woolwich Crown Court, as they mentioned, for holding signs informing jurors of their legal rights to hear the whole truth of the case and their right to acquit according to conscience. By doing this, the state has shown that more important than my freedoms, or more important than your freedoms, are the freedoms of IDF terrorists to indiscriminately murder. I'm here because it's our duty now, more than ever, to take, as a great woman once said, it's our duty now more than ever to take the only route available to us when all other routes have failed. To take direct action against those who value capital and land more than actual human lives. We must take direct action against those who seek to erode our democratic and social norms out of a sheer lust for power. We cannot let this bastion of empire further subjugate people here and around the world by upholding unlawful, dangerous, and abjectly amoral mechanisms that are underway here today as Huda attends this hearing with her team. I'd like to read a poem by Zoe Rogers, one of the activists who bravely targeted Elbit systems, and is on trial again tomorrow at Woolwich. This is called Prison Conversations. I haven't managed to read it yet without crying, so I'm sorry about the short reading. When they ask me why I did it, I tell them about the children. How their childhood is stolen from them. How their skeletons are left charred and smoking. How easily their bodies are crushed by falling buildings. How their skin melts as their flaming tents collapse around them. I tell them of the boy found carrying his brother's body inside his bloody backpack. I tell them of the girl whose hanging corpse ended at the knees. I tell them of the father holding up his headless toddler. I tell them of the mother who received the approximate weight of her family in body parts to bury, as they had all been shattered beyond recognition. I tell them about the history, how this has happened time and time again. I tell them about the Stern Gang, the Hilltop Youth, the wars of 48 and 67, and of Operation Cast Lead. I explain how they call it mowing the lawn, cleaning the land of these human animals. How they calculate the minimum nutrients to keep everyone alive, chop a little bit off, and let only that inside. How since the war, they banned chlorine, morphine, children's toys, and much more that's needed for people to survive. Finally, I tell them that it was us that started it, with our Balfour Declaration and our media suppression. So I say I cannot stand for this. It can go on no longer. And I took action against Elbit, their weapons manufacturer. But I never forget to say that it was love and not hate that called me. Watching their songs and dances of freedom, reading their hope-filled books, listening to their dreams of being doctors, teachers, journalists, and never giving up. Thank you. Free Palestine.
Thank you so much, Morsha. If you're wondering if the jury on the Filton 24 trial gets to hear those words from Zoe, they are not allowed to hear those words. The judge has decided upon many things, that the motivation cannot be put forward to the jury, or any of the facts about Elbit or Israel's crimes. It is not relevant, according to the judge. So what is the point of juries, you may ask? Next up, we've got Clive from the Jury Alliance and Defend Our Juries, who's going to talk to you exactly why we have juries and what is being done to them.
Hi. If you want to know how important juries are, at the point where the only people in the country who had power were the king and the barons insisted on juries. Why? To stop the king fiddling the system. Sound familiar? By the 12th century, we had juries for ordinary people, for peasants, the likes of me and you. That meant that you were judged by 12 people, the likes of whom you could associate with. You would see them. And they would bring local knowledge and a local sense of justice to the system. You trusted the juries because you looked at them and they were you. For over 800 years, we had a working jury system. But now David Lammy and the rest of his spineless government want to take that away. They want to halve the number of jury trials. And worst of all, they want to replace juries, the likes of me and you, with a single judge. One judge. If you have a stereotype in your head of what a judge looks like, it's because mostly they fit the stereotype. Most of them have gone through the same life path. Most of them are male. Most of them are white. If you go to that building across the road, you will not find a single black judge in the High Court, in the Court of Appeal, and if you go down to the road to the Supreme Court, you'll find exactly the same thing. Most judges have been to private school. Just to let that sink in. Most judges have been to private school. 6% of the general public have been to private school. They all follow the same path. They have the same life experiences. I will bet that none of those judges have ever had the experience of phoning around their friends to get some money together to get them through till the end of the month. I'll bet none of them have ever sofa surfed while they try and find somewhere that they can afford to rent.
Yeah.
I'll bet they've never had hurried WhatsApp or FaceTime messages with relatives abroad in countries where they fear they might randomly be struck by an airstrike. And if you haven't had those experiences, how can you judge other people who are trying to live through those experiences? I worked as a safety engineer, where if something went wrong, it would ruin lives in a different way. And the idea that I will be allowed by myself to go away and make changes or make decisions, and no one will be there with me making those decisions, it just wouldn't happen. In fact, it would be unlawful. Not just in this country, but in most of the countries around the world. That's not the way you do it. One person doesn't have that independence. They don't have that wide experience. I gave a talk in Hertfordshire, and a retired solicitor there said, you might not like some of the things that juries will do in some of the more racist parts of the country. And my response to that solicitor was, juries are us. And the way to resolve that is to talk to people. And I said that because at my heart I'm a Democrat. I believe in discussion, debate, engagement with people, decision making by consensus and if necessary, by voting. And David Lammy doesn't like juries because he's part of an authoritarian government. They are They are trying desperately to centralise power with judges, power that rightly belongs with us, the people. The changes that David Lammy is proposing, they never made it into the Labour manifesto. If you read through that manifesto and thought, I care about juries, I care about justice, you would not have known that they planned a massive change to the way that our justice system works. That's because they don't believe in debates, they don't believe in discussion, they believe in grabbing the power and then centralising it. And we know the humanity that juries can bring. We know that from the first Hilton case. We know that that jury, they deliberated long and hard, and they produced a set of results that we can look at and call justice. And I ask you, would a state-funded judge with a career to worry about had produced the same justice? And I think we all know the answer. After years of underfunding, the government now wants a conveyor belt. Come in, defendant number one. Sorry, computer says no, go to jail. Next defendant. They are swapping a system that produces justice for something which produces numerical results. How many people did we judge today? How many of them did we send off to prison? With no care about the quality of the justice. Well, this citizen says no. I say no to removing juries. I say no to removing local voices. I say no to degrading justice. On May the 18th, we're organising and we will be going to courts up and down the country. I ask you, grab hold of a flyer, come and join us. Tell your MP, tell your friends, tell the sycophants who are coming round now asking for your votes in the local election. Tell them you want local voices heard. And not just every election cycle, we want local voices heard all the time. In court, in the courtroom, with the jury. Speak back to those in power and say, we will not be silenced. We are the jury, we are the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clive. Next up, we've got Peter, a professor of philosophy, who's going to talk about the duty that we have to oppose unjust laws and the mass defiance that's happened in the form of a letter. Thank you.
It's so great to be here with you.
See you everywhere. See you everywhere.
So say a few words about this letter. It's a short letter. I imagine some of you might have signed it. It consists of 7 words. Say it with me now. It says, "We oppose genocide. We support Palestine Action." 1,700 people have signed it. Many of them are right here. It's an incredible list of people. If you haven't yet seen it, you can go to the Defend Our Juries website and look through it. It is an inspiring and beautiful thing to see. It's just an incredible gathering of people, and it includes, in a way, almost to my surprise, hundreds of academics, colleagues of mine, people I've learned from, people I've studied and worked with all of my academic life. People I learn from all the time, and I've corresponded with some of them, and broadly 2 things came out of all this correspondence. One is particular and one is a bit more general. The particular point is so obvious, it's a genocide. You know, people who work on these things, the word genocide ends the discussion. Immediately, anybody who's familiar with a tiny bit of European law and philosophy that followed World War II doesn't need to engage in this discussion. It was obvious by the end of October 2023 when one Israeli official after another got up and said what they were intending to do and what they were setting about doing. Get rid of the so-called human animals out of Gaza. It was emphatic when the International Court of Justice declared in repeated rulings in 2024 that there was a plausible case of genocide ongoing when they set very strict conditions on what Israel would have to do to stop this genocide from continuing. They would have to let food in, they would have to let medicine in, they would have to let people in, they'd have to respect the border crossings. All of that was flouted entirely, violated by Israel and its allies, including the British government. And then it has been blindingly obvious ever since when every single human rights group of any credibility has lined up one after the other to say it's a genocide and to say indeed that we have an absolute duty to oppose it. So that's the first point. And then what does the government do? It's a genocide. Do they then shut down Elbit systems? Do they shut down the arms companies that are enabling it? Do they put pressure on Israel? No, they put pressure on us, the people who are trying to oppose it. This is an outrageous, mind-bending thing. The second and more general point is indeed this question. It is a duty, it is an obligation for us to oppose unjust laws. There were laws that made apartheid legal. There were laws that made slavery legal. And a few people opposed them, then masses of people opposed them. Slave uprisings opposed slavery. Mass resistance opposed apartheid. It was right and just to do that. We must do that. But to oppose an unjust law, you have to be able to explain why you are opposing it. And this is why the question that Defend Our Juries has been pushing so strongly, including this last week. Jurors have the right to hear the whole case. That means that the defendants have to be able to explain their motives and reasons. And this is absolutely fundamental. People don't realize how far-reaching this is. So I'm a teacher. I'll end with giving you just 2 little bits of homework. Many of you will have done these things before, which is to read 2 small speeches. The first is by Andrea, or interviews, is by Andrea Needham, one of the Plowshares or Seeds of Hope activists, who in 1996 went into an Air Force base, banged up a plane, and explains in 1996 why they, those defendants, including Andrew Zelter and many others, why they were acquitted. And so the piece is just called Why I Was Acquitted, and she explains, because I could give the reasons for my action. I could explain to a jury who listened and understood and acquitted us. So that's exercise number 1. Andrea Needham, Why I Was Acquitted, Peace News, 1996. The second is to read a speech that was given a few months ago in January of this year by Rajiv Menon, and again, many of you will have read it. If you haven't, go immediately to read this tremendous speech he gave, I think, on the 8th of January, 2026, at the end of the first of the Filton trials. It's on Real Media, you can find it, read it, study it. It's an absolutely tremendous example, beautifully said, of why jurors have to hear the reasons why people act. And incredibly, and we can't even speak about it, this principle is under attack in the courtroom as we speak, and Rajiv Menon himself is under attack for this. And it's an outrage. We need to pay attention, we need to push for this. So those are your 2 little bits of work. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Peter. So our final speaker is Nida, who will be talking about her best friend who was captured by the state and who's still being held in prison for taking direct action against the RAF in genocide, allegedly.
Thank you. On 20th June 2025, two activists broke into RAF Rice Norton. They spray painted two Voyager planes that are part of a fleet responsible for hitting a detention center in northern Yemen that killed 68 people, mostly African migrants. This operation by the British military was to do Trump spinning in Operation Rough Rider, which is meant to attack Houthis who were defending Palestinians at the time. Whether we, Britain, meant to kill civilians, meant to kill African migrants wanting refuge, is no more a question that plagues any of us against the plethora of crimes against humanity we sit on. Has northern Yemen ever declared war on Britain? Has a detention centre ever hurt us, ever hurt our livelihood? So why is this a defensive strike? These are the questions that riddle us day and night as our military from Oxfordshire, from Gloucestershire, from Glasgow let heavy bombers take off into the sky that enables genocide, massacres and destruction of the global south. On 20th June 2025, two activists broke into RAF Rice Norton. This action exposed how our RAF bases, our Royal Air Force, in the midst of genocide in Gaza, allowed access to Israel, to RAF base, to Rice Norton base, where spy planes used to give intelligence to Israel during massacres of Palestinians has landed in Oxfordshire, RAF Rice Norton, and the Voyager fleet that carry out the imperial ambitions of the US and Israel reside. Soon after, 5 people were raided and kidnapped by counter-terror police for allegedly being connected to this direct action. They were Umar, Louis, Amu, John and Dan. They have spent 10 months in prison now without trial, and their trial is set in January 2027. They are consistently refused bail. They are charged under the National Security Act for allegedly exposing our British military's active participation in war crimes. They are the first ever activists to have ever been charged under National Security Act. But I ask you, whose security are we even protecting? Keir Starmer loves to quote what is in the interest of British nationals. And I can tell you this much, it is in the British national interest to know that our taxes are being used for genocide. It is against our national security for our military runways to be used by US and Israel. And we have seen what happens to those bases in the Gulf state. They make us retaliation targets. They make us complicit in killing babies and children. The Rice Norton 5 prisoners and their case was used as a reference point for the proscription of Palestine Action. However, declassified revealed that they were planning to proscribe them in March. They were just, waiting around until the genocide wasn't so bad to proscribe them, and so Rice Norton 5 were used as a scapegoat. And although this prescription is unprecedented for a non-violent direct action group, prescribing resistance movements and our fights for liberation, it's not new. In fact, Nelson Mandela was once deemed a terrorist. These are all recycled tactics of continuing apartheid and repressive regime. But every repressive tactic from the government on a few of us is a fight for the rest of us. And therefore, we all collectively challenge the prescription of Palestine Action. We demand bail for Umar. He is locked up in a cell for 23 hours, making him lose the ability to walk due to his conditions. We demand to free all the prisoners from the OM5 in Germany to the Rice Norton 5 here. We demand justice for the Fulton 24. But more importantly, we demand justice and the release of all Palestinian prisoners in Israeli prison. Every Palestinian prisoner is a political prisoner. We will end the war machine, which will eventually lead us to the end of the ecological collapse.
And this government, it keeps forgetting that this ecological collapse is so imminent, as it spends endless energy and resources arresting thousands holding placards, taking away jury trials, letting Palantir, that is going to be building kill lists from our health data into our hospitals, and stacking judicial processes against activists. It is tough, the battle is hard, and the climb is steep. But in our lifetime, we have to believe that we will see a free Palestine. We have to believe we will see a free Sudan, and we have to fight like we will. And that is how we will end the war machine. Thank you. Thank you, Nida. So, for the rest of today, we are going to be delivering the letter to the Court of Appeal, which has now been signed by more than 1,700 people in defiance of the proscription. If they come and charge any of the sign holders, which they already have, they better then be going after every person who has signed that letter, including some public figures, law professors, professors around the country, international figures, international activists, as well as all of the people, most likely most of you who are here. If you haven't signed it yet, you have a few minutes. Get online and sign the letter. Comes with legal consequences, potentially. And after that, we will display the Defend Our Juries timeline of a genocide in front of the court building. The timeline of a genocide shows the level of British complicity in the genocide of the Palestinian people. It shows exactly, if you haven't already heard it in the speeches today, why we have the duty in Britain to oppose this genocide and why we have to take action against it. Right, that's it for the speeches. We're going to have the letter delivered to the court now. Great.
Yes. The important point. I think for us in the press.
Yeah, Al Jazeera wanted.
Right, so Maggie. Turn around, let's get some on this. There's not a huge amount of contrast.
I can give you a...
Yeah, well.
It's long, it's quite impressive.
32 pages.
Yes, sir.
I have read it.
It probably didn't take you too long to read, I'm guessing.
Well, that's right.
But the list of signatures will take you a little while.
Uh-huh.
That'll keep you busy, in fact.
Yeah.
Are we going to be allowed in here, or what's going to happen?
Yeah, so you'll be allowed, we won't be allowed. Like,
Right.
You're not funny, great.
Let me get in.
My name is Peter Hallward. I'm a professor of philosophy. I'm here to deliver a letter to the Court of Appeal. It's signed by 1,700 people. The letter consists simply of 7 words. It says, we oppose genocide, we support Palestine Action. It's addressed to the court. We ask them to take it into account as they consider now the case around the prescription of Palestine Action. All right.
The professor has just gone in to deliver that letter. What does the Grim Reaper have to say about all this?
Well, the Grim Reaper hopes very much that they take note of the contents of that letter and join the right side of history and do the right thing now. That's my message. Do the right thing, join the right side of history.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, I think you were standing
I went into the court to deliver our letter. They initially asked me to put it in a post box. We discussed that a little bit. They did give me permission to go up to the court, number 4, and to give it to the usher of the court. So there's a little discussion about this, that they did accept it eventually. That will then be passed on to the clerk, who will give it in turn to Chief Lady Justice Carr. And so they will read the letter very soon. And I hope they listen and hope they get the message.
Well done.
And I'm the Prince of Wales. I've had to come up here today to London Aviv in England Rail because this is supposed to be the High Court of Justice. Justice means fairness and justice means equity. And where's the fairness and where's the equity in the dealings with Palestine, Palestine protest, the Filton 24, the Bryce Norton 5, the very recent 3 whose name I can't remember, and with the beautiful Palestine Action? Where's the fairness? Where's the equity? This is a royal court, so it's my court. It's covered in filth of corruption and bribery. It's covered in the blood of Palestine. So I'm here today to mop it. On the roof up there, we've got the Lady Justice. And the Lady Justice fights for the moral equity and justice worldwide. And they've hoard her out. They've hoard her sovereignty to the terrorist, anti-Semitic state that calls itself Israel. It's anti-Semitic because it is causing a genocide on a Semitic people. So I'm here to mop it. In the Lady Justice's hands, there's a scales, and those scales are supposed to display equity in law. Yet, with our friends, one of whom is a Cymrogi from my community, they've taken away their right to speak about what they did and why they did it. Where's the fairness? Where's the equity? That sovereignty of British justice has been sold to Elbit systems and to the terrorist state that calls itself Israel. Thank you. Lady Justice also holds a sword, and she holds a sword to uphold the judgment of international judges and national judges.
Excuse me guys, please make sure there's an entrance.
But that judge is now under question and being appealed against by our criminal government. Our criminal government that is directly in the pay of the terrorist state that has recently passed the most racist law that has ever been passed in the history of humanity. And that is the law to allow them to hang Palestinian hostages, no other hostages. It makes them the most racist society that's ever existed. The Lady Justice also has a blindfold on to represent her impartiality. And how is there impartiality if they're directly taking bribes of criminal organisations that specialise in war, specialise in genocide and specialise in infanticide? So this is my bucket, it's full of Dŵr Cymru, Welsh water, that the Sais, the English, have been stealing off us. And I don't even think my Welsh water is going to be enough to get the filth and the blood off this institution. Absolutely bogging.
Oh, it's bad. You're crazy man. Get it ready.
There's going to be trouble. And this man,
Political prisoners that were arrested for Palestine.
my message to the political prisoners are, you are heroes of humanity. You've been ashamed of yourself. I'll mop the filth off you. Absolutely. Your violence and your arresting of people that are just holding up a sign saying that juries have the right to acquit based on their own conscience. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Sir, is this suppression similar to what the Welsh people experienced
This is
under the British?
exactly the same as the Welsh people experienced under the British regime, because they put the ring of iron around Wales, where they put castles all the way around Wales, and they put in place the most violent warlords in them.
Guys, please, please, just a bit clearer for me, please.
They steal our natural resources without paying for them, without even saying thanks, and they consider us their property. They can still consider us an own state. We don't have the right,
please,
to stand.
Can you make sure there is an entrance? People need to get through into the building, please. Clear the way. Thank you.
You still can't stop smiling, can you, bloke?
Everybody needs access to the building. Guys.
If he's going to smile, I can't help myself. I can't help myself.
Please, guys, just please make sure there is an escape. There's a fire escape. You please need to make sure it's clear. Just straight through the middle.
It's alright, I got plenty of Welsh water here. I'll take the fire.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Please, after you.
Your point about the classes is very interesting.
Thank you.
Harlech and all that. I know all of that.
We also had checkpoints up to, on our roads, which is why I'm dressed as Rebecca today.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, we had checkpoints up on our roads until the 1800s, and only the Welsh, the Cymraeg, had to pay for them. Until Welsh people dressed as Rebecca from the Old Testament and went down and trashed the checkpoints. Otherwise we'd still have checkpoints on our roads, I don't doubt.
And coming back to what's happening in modern times, I just love the way you're cleaning all this dirt.
Oh, it's just bogging. It's absolutely filthy. Look at them. Yeah, absolutely. They might dress it up with numbers and they dress it up with money, but how many children can you buy back for the billions that are invested in the arms trade? You can't buy one life back of one child that I've seen burnt in their beds because of this country and these criminal institutions that back up a genocide in Palestine.
Sorry, guys,
they couldn't get away with anything they do if we didn't back them up and we didn't give them a worldwide stage and give them consent for what we're doing. They're doing. Where's the decency?
Here, good people here.
Where is the common decency? Where is the dignity of this country if it's got to rely on a trade which necessitates death to keep its head above its own financial waters? Shame on Britain. Shame. Absolute shame. You want me to do your shoes around?
And well done.
Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you.
It's not every day you get to have a chance with a chat with death. I've had many of those days in Palestine, but you know.
Can you?
All right, Bach, how are you doing?
Can you tell us something about your activities in Palestine?
My activities in Palestine, I've seen genocide, I've seen apartheid, I've seen the systematic wiping out of entire people, I've seen the most gross forms of racism I ever thought I'd see, indoctrinated racism into young people.
When was this?
Well, I've been going on back and forth from 2004. Excuse me, I was last there in 2025. I was there at the start of 2025 working as a nurse, and then I was back there then under invitation or under kidnapping from the terrorist state that calls itself Israel. Right. And I spent time in Kitziot prison, where I saw them torturing Palestinians by keeping them in steel boxes in the desert, pulling them out of the boxes shackled and setting dogs on them.
And you were arrested by the Israelis?
I was kidnapped by Israeli special forces 116 miles off the coast of Gaza in international waters, which should have been an act of war towards 54 different countries, but they all turned a blind eye. Keir Starmer said that the genocidal state of Israel could do what they want with his own citizens whilst we were in Kitziot.
Right. So you were kidnapped by Israeli special forces?
Yes.
And taken to Kitziot jail?
Yes.
How long were you in there for?
I was only in the jail for, I think it was 3.5 days. But there was two days either side getting in and out.
Right. And what happened to you after that?
Then the Turkish people came to get me because the British government offered me blackmail. I was zip-tied in a cage and the British delegate came out to see me, and the British delegate said, what reservation have you got get back from Istanbul? And I said, do you actually know where you are? I'm zip-tied in a cage in Kityurt prison in the Negev desert. And he said, well, we'll offer you £300 to get home. We'll lend it to you, you've got to give it back, but we're keeping your passport. To which I said, do you know I was an emergency nurse with the NHS for 30 years? And he didn't care. He offered me £300 again as a form of bribery, but they were taking my passport off me, which was blackmail.
Right. So we can understand why you're not scared of anything that happens here.
Oh no, I'm not intimidated at all, no.
All right.
This is a criminal institution. And it's openly bribed. It's being run by private corporations. If their paymasters are a corporation that must make a profit, then there's no way that they can be impartial and have justice. Justice requires impartiality, and there's no way you can have that when your paymaster tells you what to say, what to do. My name's Lee.
Well, how's the time?
And they have to, like, for clean.
British government. It's just some of the best I can do at the moment.
Yeah, it's well sporty, you know, powerful stuff.
Yeah.
I want a photo of them as well.
We have no intensity, but I'm trying to appeal.
I do understand that.
The message really, but I'll stay out.
Okay,
You want.
I'm with you.
Can we get a portrait as well? Thank you. Thank you.
Can each of you say something, just a few words?
We oppose genocide and we challenge the proscription of Palestine Action.
Free Amu Ghib!
Free Amu Ghib!
Free the Bryce Norton 5!
Free the Bryce Norton 5!
Elect Amu Ghib! Elect Amu Ghib for council in Finsbury Park on the 7th of May.
Yeah.
And free Umar Khalid bail. Everyone needs bail. Thank you!
As a person who has been denied the right to an interpreter, on at least 35 occasions, most of which in the last couple of months. I mean, I was. There are apparently no Dutch interpreters in this country, and I've been. And I've actually been told by a judge I'm not allowed an interpreter, and which is a fundamental right.
Yeah, it's a fundamental right.
I mean, according to the law in this country, I should have been told the moment I was arrested why I was arrested in a language that I can understand. Well, as you
Told them they would have numbers. Everyone who's going to come to sign.
It's not like we know it's really important.
Here's another. What happened to you, if I may ask?
Nothing. The police don't want to arrest me so far. Those ones don't want to.
Did you want to be arrested?
Well, I never want to be arrested, but you know, they've stated that they will arrest people for displaying an article. I am displaying 7 articles, and they don't want to arrest me today.
Can I get a close up?
You can.
Yes. Oh, what a wonderful neck. And they just, so then they turned around and said, no, we're not going to.
Yeah, that group over there don't want to, so I'm going to go and have a little wander and see if anyone else will change their mind.
I'll arrest you, if you like. It won't be the same though. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon. Somebody told me you'd been arrested. Is that true?
Not today.
Not today?
We have in the past.
Right. And what happened? Were you taken to court at all?
Well, we've got court appearances for our first 2 arrests. The 3rd arrest, they missed the 6-month deadline to charge us. We've not been charged for that. And the 4th arrest, we're still bailed to appear at Plumstead Police Station on it's either the 10th or 11th of July.
Oh well, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think anything will happen.
And when I said, because the first 2 arrests we were bailed to appear at Plumstead Police Station. The first one was 9:30 in the morning. And I said, there's no way we can get from Reading to Plumstead. And I was talking to a police sergeant at the processing centre. I said, we can't get to the arse end of London at that time of the morning. And he said, that's what he called it.
I've just had one. I know, well, now I can't say it. Look!
Yes!
Put the little Palestine flag in it. It's got to have the flag in it. Yeah, put the flag in it.
Yeah.
There's a little flag.
Well, that's okay. That makes it legitimate.
It's lovely.
Trudy.
It's lovely because this lovely young woman has made them to support a young woman in a refugee camp in Gaza.
Wow.
I think, I'm not sure, oh, she's from Gaza, she's in a refugee camp and they've been corresponding for a couple of years. So they're trying to get her disabled mother out of the refugee camp. So bless her, she's trying to fundraise, which,
Right.
So, yeah, a very sticky cake really, and a sugar hit, which is...
You've had an interesting time. It must have been funny last week getting arrested. Were you laughing inside or what?
I wasn't laughing inside.
Okay.
Because I think this is quite serious now.
You're right, I'm sorry. Yep.
I think the way that
Did the police know who you were?
Are being abused.
Did the police know who you are?
I don't think so, no.
Ah, right. Well,
I don't think so. I was just a very awkward person who was in the wrong place.
Right.
And therefore needed to be handcuffed behind my back. Just behind you.
The guy who just greeted
Your name first.
My name's Adam Beard.
Adam Beard. Yeah. So, how long were you in prison for?
I was on remand for 7 months.
Wow. Which prison?
I spent a month in Wandsworth and then 6 in Wormwood Scrubs. Interesting places.
Of course.
Yeah, they're violent places.
Yep. pretty nasty. Do you want to tell us something about the prison experience?
I find it hard to say. I mean, it's not that I find it hard to talk about. I was actually, although they're really grim places and violent and horrible, I found it okay. I kind of felt I could cope with that, and once I realised that I was doing okay, I thought, well, if I can do this, then I'm fine, aren't I? I can do anything, kind of thing. I mean, it's obviously not quite true, but
absolutely. That's really
the time I found it hardest was when it wasn't clear whether our trial was going ahead, whether it'd be remanded for another 6 months until our trial happened, and that uncertainty was really hard to live with.
Exactly.
But as long as I kind of knew I'm here and this is what I'm doing, I could basically get on with it with a massive amount of support from friends outside who wrote to me and phone calls and sent books in and all of that kind of thing that made me feel part of something bigger.
Right, I can imagine that's 90% of the battle, is having support
and
from
one of
the
my
outside.
co-defendants was in the next door cell, which made it
right.
easier to there was at least somebody who got it and we could have a good chat with.
Right. So eventually, so you were on remand, and what happened at your trial?
We had a 7-week trial in Isleworth.
7 weeks?
And
it's a hell of a long time.
Got found guilty.
Okay.
But I'd been given bail halfway through the trial because my mum was seriously ill, dying basically. So I got bail for that.
Right.
So that was interesting. I spent the first half of the trial going in from prison and the second half going in from outside.
Right.
And then when we got sentenced, I was sentenced to a year. So I'd basically already served my time.
Okay.
So I had a cheeky little weekend back in Scrubs because they didn't get the paperwork sorted out by the end of the day.
Really? Can you give us your name first of all?
Yeah, my name is Olax.
Where do you come from?
I'm from the city of Peace and Justice, The Hague, in the Netherlands.
What brings you here today?
Well, today was the appeal about the previous ruling that the proscription of Palestine Action was unlawful, which the government of this fascist state does not like, so they appealed it, and we were out here today to show our support for democracy in general, I guess, and also obviously for the people of Palestine and for the people in the United Kingdom who are imprisoned for supporting or taking action against genocide or for supporting the Palestinian people.
How does this relate to legal proceedings in the Netherlands against Palestinian activists?
I'm not really sure if I understand the question correctly. This is not my first language. Do you mean how does it compare to
Right, yes.
Well, what I've been saying for quite a while now, actually, I'm with a group that has been in solidarity, that's been taking action in solidarity with Palestine Action in the UK and with other activist groups in the UK since the proscription of Palestine Action. And what I keep saying is that what's happening in the UK today will happen in the Netherlands and the rest of Europe tomorrow.
I thought Palestine Action was already prescribed in the Netherlands and Germany.
No. There is a Palestine Action Netherlands, there is a Palestine Action Germany, there's a Palestine Action Belgium. We've seen them in Czech Republic, in a lot of countries. Palestine Action is still doing action for Palestine.
Sure.
In the Netherlands, they have tried to call anti-fascist people terrorists, but that only holds in Parliament and not in law. So the judges don't agree with that, which leads me to the answer of how does it compare. I would say that in politics we're pretty much on the same level as the UK, as in we've got a fascist government as well in the Netherlands. We've got the Zionists do control the Dutch government as well. We've got a prime minister who a week before he was elected talked about putting immigrants in concentration camps to get rid of them without bothering the real human beings. That's the tone our politicians are setting. In courts, however, we see a big difference with the United Kingdom. In courts, in Dutch courts, we don't have juries, but our judges do seem to acknowledge the existence of human rights, which is, well, I don't always agree with them, but they seem to understand the law, which is, I would say, a requirement for a judge. But from what I've seen in this country, also very up close, especially the European Human Rights Convention is not something that's taken into consideration in court cases in this country, which is horrifying, really. There are political parties in this country, but also in the Netherlands, who would love to see us get rid of all of human rights. So, like I said, politics-wise, very comparable. Legal-wise, there is still some hope for the Netherlands, and I would like to keep it that way, which is why I'm protesting in the UK. Because if we can stop this madness, we can stop this cancer from spreading out throughout the rest of the Western world.
Right.
I hope.
What legal cooperation between defense lawyers is there between all the European Palestinian groups?
I'm not really sure exactly. I know they do talk a lot. I know my lawyers in the UK and my lawyers in the Netherlands have been in close contact about my case, because this is an international campaign, and the things that I've done, that we as a group have done in the Netherlands, definitely weigh in for the way I'm being treated here, especially because of all the action I've taken against the British Embassy in The Hague, which this government really doesn't appreciate.
What was that action in The Hague?
I was arrested about 10 times, I think.
10 times?
Yeah, in a span of a couple of weeks, for breaking an area ban that I was given because I smashed a very tiny window with a brick that said "Free the Field in 24" on it. Apparently that window, which was like 10 by 10 centimeters, I think, has cost them, I think, a couple of €1,000 to restore, which is comparable to the British government thinks that to get a bit of spray paint off of a statue of a certain war criminal on Parliament Square would cost £12,000. They do hire very expensive cleaners and restorers in this country.
Right.
But yeah, that was what I was in jail and in prison for in the Netherlands before I got here.
Wow. How long were you in prison for?
In the Netherlands I was, I kept trying to get arrested in the Netherlands because I was doing a solidarity hunger strike with the hunger strikers in here, and I wanted to do the imprisonment as a form of solidarity as well. So I set up a way to get arrested without any violence whatsoever, without any effort whatsoever. I just had to walk up to the embassy and then I would be arrested again. Eventually a judge ruled, okay, you want to be arrested, sure, we're going to put you in prison if you do it again. That is what you want, right? I said, yeah, that is what I want. Okay, here's your sentence. Which is what I mean when I say judges actually listen to
Did you make the hunger strike in the end?
Sorry?
Did you make a hunger strike?
I was hunger striking for 35 days.
Wow!
During the,
Okay, let me recap. So you made a hunger strike for 35 days without taking any electrolytes or vitamins or anything.
As a diabetic patient, yeah.
And were you diabetic before?
Yeah. Actually, there was a certain, I'm a type 2 diabetic, there was a risk of me not being diabetic anymore because of all the weight I lost. I lost over 25 kilos in a couple of weeks.
And you
still haven't regained it.
And you've got pain in your feet now, and you're told that that's going to be a permanent pain for the rest of your life. And how does that pain manifest itself?
It's like a pressure. It's like from over the whole feet, like it's being flattened between. It's like when a small child, a toddler, sits on your feet, but 24/7. It's like continuous pressure. It's not. I'm not. It's not excruciating or something, but I am in continuous, consistent pain.
Do you have any regrets? I'm sure you do not have any regrets, but do you have any feelings about that period?
Well, I do have a lot of feelings about that period, but during that period I was one of the first things in my body that shut off were my ability to process emotions. I was very emotionally shut down, and I was only focused on the act. I was not at all concerned about my own well-being. Then I was only focused on how are we getting this message out, how are we going to use my suffering for the greater cause.
Right.
I did suffer. I was in a lot of pain. I mean, the first 100 hours I was also on a thirst strike, which I cannot recommend. I was. I mean, I've been between Christmas and the end of January. There have been 3 moments where I was on the brink of death, and that is traumatizing emotionally. And I still have not been able to fully recover on the psychological part either, and I will not fully recover on the physical part, I've been told. I have no regrets about doing any of it. I've seen the effect. I've seen the effect of the. I mean, obviously, it was part of a larger hunger strike going on in the UK.
Would you do it again?
Well,
what would you do?
Were the same.
Let's put it a bit differently. What would you do differently?
I don't think I would do anything. I think we've achieved so much. We've shown so many people. We've made it so personal for a lot of people. We made it relatable for a lot of people by being citizens of Western democracies, being put in horrible conditions by a government that would literally just state our reaction to a hunger strike is just let them die, because we do not negotiate with terrorists. Those words were uttered, and it is so important to show the people of this country, of my country, of all countries that are allied with the terrorists in Israel and the United States. It is so important to show the people, to show the citizens that they are being ruled by such a repressive government that does not care about their own, about the inhabitants of their own country.
Do you have any thoughts about how to get that message across to people in the streets, you know, the general population?
Well, I don't know how many followers you have on your YouTube. I think it is a trap some people fall for to think social media is enough, because there is a lot of. It's not enough. It is a large echo chamber. I think is the right translation here. We need to let the people in general know, not just 3.5% that are protesting. We need to let the taxpayers know that their tax money is used to destroy the lives of the citizens, of the taxpayers themselves. We need to make people understand that the weapons our governments are buying instead of funding our right to eat, our right to be housed. While we are overpaying for groceries, our taxpayers' money is used to bomb children in other countries, which will lead to aggression against the United Kingdom, against the Netherlands, against all of Western Europe. I mean, we see countries like Iran making direct threats to not just the United States, but also to they at one point they were putting out messages that they would attack The Hague if the Hague, the International Court of Justice, would take action against them. All of my family lives in The Hague. I'm from. It's very personal suddenly, and this is a country that I mean it is very. It's a very confusing situation. I won't pretend that I understand everything happening in West Asia, but I do understand a threat when I see it, and I do understand that this threat is provoked by my own government, and that my own government and the government of this shitty country are provoking attacks against us. Our lives are put in severe danger by the people taking our money to bomb children in Palestine, Iran, Jordan and Lebanon and Sudan and a lot of other countries.
You see, I have not been out away from London for 20 years. And I don't realize that the campaign that we see here today is just one part of the total European campaign. I don't realize that.
It's not just Europe. When we started, I mean, our group, Free the Filton 24 NL, our group started in July when the proscription started here, and we have most of our actions were aimed at the British Embassy in The Hague, and we found out that British embassies are a very popular target across the world, like in Australia, like in the United States, like in Venezuela even. I've seen a lot of European countries have targeted British embassies because of like how Palestine has become a symbol for all freedom and justice movements across the world. Suddenly the British oppression, how the freedoms of the British citizens were taken away, how democracy is taken away, suddenly became very symbolic as well. And I've seen actions against embassies in over 25 countries. We were contacting each other, we were talking about how we could, there were at one day, I think we did on the same day we did an action against 12 different embassies. I've heard from in my court case against me, I've heard the ambassador speak about being frightened by us because of all the threats all across the world against British embassies. I mean, all we did was sit outside and make a lot of noise in opposition to the very silent protesting that's going on here. We stood there with the placards saying I support Palestine Action, but we did noise protest. And yeah, I bricked one window, sure, that happened as well. And there has been a lot of red paint and some glue in locks, I think. We were doing peaceful action in the old proud Dutch tradition of peaceful action, like it's done all over the world. And yeah, there is a lot of support from people all over the world for the United Kingdom. We're not just saying free Palestine, we are saying free the United Kingdom, because you are living in a fascist state. All of democracy has been taken away in the last couple of decades, and we need to fight this, not just in this country, but all over the world. Because if Britain falls, the Western world will follow.
Let's leave it there.